Um, what is your typical daily routine? Do you have any hobbies?
Daily survey. Routine? No special. Of course, as a practitioner, like late Thomas Merton, my daily, the day start, Thomas case 2:30 morning, my case 3:30. Then some meditation, some prayer, meditation mainly analytical meditation. Then of course, breakfast. As a Buddhist monk, no dinner. So after lunch, no solid food. But my case, sometimes if I feel hungry and a lot of sort of work or a lot of busy day, then sometimes with salutation to Buddha, few biscuits or some cakes. I think Buddha very, very kind. So I think he certainly, I'm quite sure, he gives me permission to eat some of these biscuits. So otherwise, like Thailand or Sri Lanka, in this area, the monk, the food habit, very strict. No afternoon, no solid food. So like that. So therefore, next morning, I always feel hungry. So breakfast is very, very precious, very blessing. Very
Important.
Very important. So my younger brother, so I teach him. He almost never saw sunrise because he sleep till late. So then he responds to me, the main reason I got up in early morning is not prayer or meditation, but for breakfast. I think somebody said it is true. It is true. So like that, then go like that. Of course, I think one, as a practitioner, as soon as I got up and think I should utilize this day more meaningful. And I myself also should have more happier days, right? Like that. That actually is something like preparation of the different sort of consequences of the day. From early morning, from the beginning of the day, some kind of caution or some kind of preparation and determination. That some help. So rest of the day, usually this sort of strong determination in early morning in order to shape my mind, make some impact. Otherwise, nothing special. Like that. Or then? I think meditation takes 4 hours. Then some work. If not much work, then reading, study. Mainly, nowadays mainly a Tibetan script, which I learned in the past. So refresh, and also contemplation, very useful. Then of course I listen, BBC always, very important. Then some read some newspapers, some magazines. Then most cases afternoon meeting people, different people. Sometimes meeting very useful, sometimes meeting waste of time, like that. Go like that. So then, I'm Tibetan usually is a non-vegetarian, except it's a few individual. After I came to India, I think 65, I try become vegetarian. So then next almost 2 years, I remain strict vegetarians. Then some physical problems just started. Then I returned the original, the diet. But then, meantime, we promote in India vegetarianism. Most bigger monastic institutions, they usually is the number of students about 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 like that. All these common kitchens now strictly now vegetarian. So we really making effort promotion of vegetarianism. And I myself also, most of the time, vegetarian. Sometimes once a week or sometimes once 2 weeks, little non-vegetarian things, like that. So, and then sleep around 8, like that. So usually sound sleep, 8 hours, 9 hours, sometimes 10 hours. So that's best part of my restful rest. Busy daytime, and then long hour sleep, very happy. Like that. Yes.
What can we do to help Tibet?
Of course, I appreciate your question or your concern. Yes, since 2000, beginning of 2000, we renewed direct contact with Chinese government. So we are trying to find a mutually agreeable solution. That means we are not seeking independence. Irrespective of the past history, according to this reality, Tibet as a landlocked country and a materially backward and a small population and modern education, trainings, we are very much lacking. Therefore, meantime, every Tibetan wants modernized Tibet. Therefore, as far as material development is concerned, we get greater benefit, remain within the People's Republic of China. At the same time, we also have very unique cultural heritage and rich Buddhist tradition and beautiful, delicate environment. So therefore, we need special arrangement regarding preservation of Tibetan culture, Tibetan spirituality, and Tibetan delicate, environment. So present arrangement, so-called autonomy, is actually autonomy only on paper. In reality, all the decision makers, all people in the decision makers are people who have no idea about Tibetan culture, Tibetan spirituality, and the delicate situation of Tibetan environment. So therefore, the present situation is actually no guarantee for preservation of Tibetan culture, Tibetan spirituality. So already, the purer form of Tibetan culture, Tibetan spirituality exists only outside Tibet, not inside Tibet. The problem, those Chinese sort of officials, their main concern is, oh, Tibet Tibet must remain within the People's Republic of China, should not separate. So they are always, every field, they always looking from the angle of the political side, not culture or the environment or these things. So therefore, few years ago, one party secretary in autonomous region of Tibet, actually, I think his name, Teng Guyen, he actually expressed in party meeting that the source of threat, Tibetan separation, is Tibetan Buddhism. So, accordingly, they put a lot of restrictions, and monk in the monastery need political education. Here, political education sounds okay, but the reality, political education means criticism of Dalai Lama, absolute loyalty to communist. So these are rather difficult, isn't it? So, and those monks and nuns who not criticize Dalai Lama expelled from the monastery or nunnery. So there's a lot of difficulties, a lot of contradictions. As a result, I think they almost, I often meeting with a Tibetan who come from Tibet with great risk of their own future, including some old retired officials, some old party member. For example, one occasion I met one Tibetan who introduced me as a party secretary in district level, last 40 years as a party member. Then I joked to him, oh, since you are old communist, you should not have Buddhist faith. I just teased him. Then he told me, he answered to me with great sort of moving way. He told me, more than 40 years as a communist, no single day some kind of doubt towards Buddha. And of course, if I say it's not nice, but he also told me, last 40 years, he never developed some kind of, doubt towards you. That means I'm Dalai Lama. So even those old Communist Party members, some cases, ideologically, they are genuine communists. But as far as Tibetan spirit is concerned, very, very strong. So more than 95% of Tibetan people are just like that. So that's the problem. So I always is telling our Chinese leaders, the Chinese leaders, their policy should be realistic, accept the reality, then accordingly deal with that realistically. So I feel the best way to deal with the problem is my approach, middle way approach, not independence, but special sort of Dakazoda, genuine autonomy, which Chinese constitution provided us. And in early 50s, Chairman Mao Zedong and Liu Shaoqi and Tu Te, in Zhu Enlai, during those periods, the Chinese government sort of recognized Tibet case is some special case. So therefore, 1950, Chinese Liberation Army already reached certain eastern part of Tibet, up to Chamdo. then very easy to send army up to Lhasa, very easy. But the Chinese government prefer army must stop there. Then they prefer peaceful liberation through agreement. So 1951, 17-point agreement signed. Although the circumstances under sort of duress, but central government prefer, Tibet is concerned, liberation should be through negotiation, through agreement, rather than just a standing army. Then as late as 1956, Zhou Enlai and Kohl came to India, while I also in India, Buddha Jayanti celebration. Then the Zhou Enlai told Pandit Nehru, the Chinese central government do not consider Tibet as a ordinary Chinese provinces. Tibet case is some special case. So in early period, the leadership, wise leadership, experienced leadership, really recognized Tibet case is something very special case. So we simply trying to talk with Chinese government. Please look situation as Deng Xiaoping once stated, seeking truth from fact. That slogan is really scientific, really wonderful. But for that, the fact must be fact, genuine fact, not artificial fact. So our friends here, and also I think some Chinese brothers, sisters also, I think here. So finally, the problem, Tibetan problem, have to find solution between Chinese brothers, sisters, and Tibetan. No one else. Meantime, of course, our sympathizers, supporters, our brothers, sisters outside the world or Western world, including United States, also you see, I think very, very helpful to materialize meaningful understanding, meaningful solution. But final sort of understanding or solution must find between Chinese and Tibetan. So therefore, some I think a young Chinese student or some Chinese teachers here, please I'm assuring to you, we are not seeking separation, we are not seeking independence because of our own interest. But meantime, please give us meaningful autonomy so that the People's Republic of China's great unity, stability, and harmony, which President Hu Jintao stressing, harmony, then can materialize. So actually my approach is helping to the central government to materialize stability and unity and prosperity. And through that way, genuine harmony. So I'm happy having this opportunity. Now next two questions, yes.
You have been involved in a dialogue with scientists for many years. What have you learned?
I know a lot of many things. And then one thing, the sort of geographical or say explanation in some Buddhist text now seems disgrace. So we are taking liberty to abandon you see these sort of the concept, right?
Traditional Buddhist cosmology.
I think Nalanda tradition, Sanskrit tradition, have the liberty to check, investigate even Buddha's own word. So therefore, there's not problem. But other hand, some other field, like relation between mind and neurons, and also different function of emotions, and how to handle these different emotions. In that respect, according to ancient Indian thought, including Buddhism, I think more materials, which is useful to modern scientists. And then quantum physics, like quantum physics, seems the Chichilia Rajtuya.
Since there's a lot of parallels and also could be mutually complementary.
So, as I mentioned earlier, you see the contact or serious discussion between Buddhist science and modern science is really useful and amazing, wonderful.
The final question. With all the violence and terrorism in the world, are you optimistic about our future?
Oh, basically, yes, I'm optimistic. Now, look, I think I think general sort of people sort of way of looking, I think much changed during the previous century. Early part of 20th century and the later part of 20th century, I think that big change, basic human sort of way of thinking, including international relations. So now this 21st century is continuation of the later part of 20th century. I think now not much time, but one example. I think desire for genuine peace, I think really very high everywhere. And sort of the feeling of fed up about using violence also much increasing everywhere. I think United States also, I think since Iraq war happened, now I think many people now really feel using force is not the sort of right method. So, and then serious concern about environment with help of scientists or those specialists. I think that also immense, I think, immensely increasing. So these are positive. So basically, I always believe many problems which we are facing today is essentially man-made problem. Therefore, logically, those problems which our own creation, since therefore we human beings must have the ability to solve these problems, to overcome these problems, because these are our own made. Then I think we need, I often used to telling people, I think this whole, also I think I already told in, I think my previous sort of visit here also, that now the 20th century, I think this way, we need, as my main talk, the importance of compassion, that practice, promotion of that thing is the method of inner disarmament. With that, we really need effort continuously or constantly, external disarmament, step by step. Through that way, 20th century become like century of bloodshed, century of violence, and result more suffering, more complication, more hatred, more division. Therefore, now this 21st century should be century of dialogue. That is important. With compassion, with holistic view and determination, more patience, whenever we have confrontation of disagreement or different interest within human family, right? And must try to find a solution through peaceful means. That's very important. So, with our determination, with our effort, tirelessly, I think this century should be more peaceful, more compassionate one, more sort of happy one. That's sort of my belief. But the more compassionate society, more happier society will not come only through prayer or meditation. We must make work hard, right? Making more effort continuously, and particularly education. Our younger generation, I think we need certain sort of what's the way to educate our younger generation these deeper values, so that eventually our society, I think the atmosphere of the society gradually can change. Then leaders or politicians come from that kind of society will be different, more compassionate. So that's our long-term policy. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Wisconsin Public Television's coverage of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's presentation in Madison. You can also find the Dalai Lama's speech streamed on our website at wpt.org. For Wisconsin Public Television, I'm Kathy Beeson. Good night.